Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. Our experience always has been that nothing has existed without the light of our existence. Can you say that something has existed unless you were there first? This beautiful quote in the Upanishads about a sage asking, so in which light do you see the world? And the disciple saying, I see the world in the sun's light. They say, in which light do you see the sun? Does even the sun exist unless you exist? What is primary from your own inside? So it is this very existence which is the light of the world. Yesterday I was wearing the shirt. Your heart is the light of the world. Don't let your mind hide it. Guruji's quote. This is what it means. Now, how does the mind hide it? Does it cease to be? Does your heart cease to be the light of the world? No, it does not hide it in that way. It only convinces the heart itself, consciousness itself, that it is something limited, it is something personal. Now the idea is so deeply ingrained that for 4 years now I've been saying this. And some of you have been there almost since the very beginning. And yet the sense that I am this limited one, and when will I get to my final freedom, can be a testimony to how strong this power of conditioning can be. How quickly the mask of being an individual is picked up. It's almost like we are waiting for the next excuse to be able to pick it up. Waiting for the next strong emotion to come. Waiting for the next strong event to happen. Waiting for some relationship thing to happen. Waiting for some money thing to happen. And we can feel like, there it is again. I am back to being a person. This is never, ever, ever true. No matter what is appearing. You will become a blue cat before you can ever become a person. the pink elephant, whatever you prefer. It is as far-fetched an idea as that. What is this game? God is reminding God every day that it is God. God is saying, yes, but something. I don't feel like I'm God. It has nothing to do with what you're feeling. I don't think I'm God. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with what you're thinking or believing about yourself. What needs to happen? What certificate are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the bliss certification that when bliss is a constant thing, then I will be free? Are you waiting for life events to be only a certain way? If you believe any of these stories, then you pick up the mask. And ultimately, the problem is that you got so used to the mask that you feel naked without it. You feel defenseless. There is no reason to have any concern about the non existent me. To keep coming back to what kind of game is this? How many of you feel like if no concept was to ever appear in your life again, that would be completely fine? How many of you feel that even if millions of concepts come, you are completely fine? Not completely, but millions of some concepts. So there it shows you that something might be waiting for the mind to stop being this concept machine. You feel like if it's not coming, then fine. But if it is coming, then I'm not fine. But I've told you many times that even if you identify nothing is changing really, and when they said millions might be a bit much. 10,000 is. Same can be checked about events in our life. emotions that we are feeling, pain or pleasure in the body. Anytime we feel like something attacks us or touches us, there's something we have believed a limitation about ourselves. You are that in which this entire universe is born. You are not a mere object in time and space. Time and space are here because you exist. But even upon hearing this, the mind can say, okay, that's nice, but what's in it for me now because of this? This concern about this me is what I was talking about, the concern for the non-existent one. That is why it can seem to go through these oscillations. One moment, your mouth could be speaking the highest words. I am so beyond all this time and space. And next moment, be back to believing yourself to be this tiny, tiny body mind. And then you try to convince yourself that you got it. So your attempts to convince the rest of the world, the rest of the Sangha, are nothing but attempts to gloss over your own doubt about yourself. There is really nothing to get. Even if there is something to get, it is not special because it is what is naturally available to you every moment anyway. Look beyond your perceptions. How to be the cow that jumped over the moon. Can it be as straightforward as looking beyond our perception? How many of you feel, I feel some feedback is good, so I know. How many of you feel that when I say that all of this world of perception is after I am being, this being is there, then this play of all this perceptions of various types, body sensations, world events, relationships, all of this, you see other bodies, all of this is perceived. This is clear. When this I am just dissolves and the play of perception also stops. Now, that in which I am is arising and this play of perception happens. Does the arising of this make any difference to that? How many of you see like that? Yes, many of you see that, which is good. So as you see that, what can happen is the mind can also quickly come in now. Very sneakily it will come in and convince you that that is that, but you are this. You see, as you're seeing this about yourselves, quickly the mind will come and say, okay, we are in trouble, friend. Better roll out a concept fast. So he say, yes, nothing happens to that, but you are this. So that's why I gave all of you this tool. I asked you, who is aware of this awareness? And as you look at who is aware of this awareness, the boundary between that and I will fade away. The idea that I am an object having this experience will dissolve. The primary notion that I am the body will start to seem funny to you. This body mind will become a source of enjoyment. They always have been, but the quality of the enjoyment will seem different. It's funny, I don't know whether I can say this on a broadcast. Many times I look at this Ananta and I feel like Ananta is also one of my children, just like the rest of the Sangha. All because you start to see that no concept, no notion really applies to the reality of you. Who could have imagined that the path to God's kingdom was this pathless path? Remember, as I've been saying so often these days, that all confusion is only confusion about who you are. That is why I've been suggesting to everyone to keep the whys aside for some time and focus on the who. Because the whys can be very confusing. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why is God playing like this in this game? Why doesn't He see that I've been through enough in my life already? Okay, why? It's never ending. If you clarify the I, then you laugh at all of these why. This is the shortcut. You can try to find some individual meaning in this world which is meaningless for the individual ultimately. Let's accept that. Or you can look at what you are and then see that you are beyond this world, you are beyond this time and space. And this play of light and sound just is because it is. Why? Consciousness. This is what I mean. What is the cause of all things? Consciousness. Where is the effect experience? Consciousness. Yesterday, after satsang, my children started to fall a bit sick. I don't know what was happening. So Dada said, "Father, why are you doing this to me?" I said, "If I'm doing, then I must be experiencing. Are there two of us?" And I've given you so many tools to look at this very, very directly. Even a simple question like, where do you draw your boundary? You know, even this question, the answer to this question, if you draw it around your body or as your body, even to the mind, it won't make sense. Something knows it so deeply, intuitively that you are not this. So if you say, yes, yes, I draw my boundary around this body, or as this body, it's not accepted in your heart. It's a truth which is already clear to you. And it's clear to most of humanity also. That's why we can say things like that. Like, after I die, after this body dies, I will rest in peace. That means you already don't believe that you are contained in this body. Because if the body is gone, then you will still rest in peace. See, even in popular notions, the body limitation is not easily accepted. Maharaj used to ask people, what were you before your conception? And nobody says, hardly anybody says, no, I came into existence only on my conception. Something feels like in your heart you feel that you have been timeless. I feel like the other day, was it Satya or somebody posted very nice post and people were just making jokes about it, but I liked it. He said, who remembers being born? And then some were talking about how the physical birth can be remembered. You see? But the point he was making is that you were there to watch even that perception, that experience happen. It's the same as asking when I say, who goes to sleep? Who wakes up? Papaji used to ask, what woke up this morning? Who is aware of your sleep and your waking? Is it a second-hand experience? No, it is you, but it is not you that you have considered yourself to be so far. Any boundary, forget about it. Any limitation, forget about it. You cannot use this personally though, because many can feel like, I'm just the limitless one. You see, you can give it to the mind, the ego, and it can pick up some delusions of grandeur like that. Guruji says like this. Just because you see that this is a dream doesn't give any advantage to the dream character. That's why these days I've been saying, who wants the truth? For the truth's sake alone. Or you want the truth for the perks. I know, I realize that the perks were promised in spirituality. Yeah. But I'm really asking you now, because this direct pointing resonates the best for those who are not looking for the truth because of some other benefit that it might bring. It's just the longing for the truth itself is there. And whether joy is experienced or not, whether some special part of the story comes after this or not, is not really so important to you now. And there comes a point where this becomes a very real living question for you. As you start to see that the master is asking me to drop every expectation that was promised, even in spirituality. Am I here just continue to be here just for the sake of the truth alone? It is these that Bhagwan would call the dry gunpowder. Bring it close to the flame and it burns up. And you have seen that even those who have consistently been able to be in satsang have seen that even the dampness of expectation is drying up in the presence of satsang, isn't it? That which we came for into spirituality for is not so relevant now. Now the mind cannot get a hold on you. Because then the mind says, oh, Ananta says, you are free right now, but you are not feeling any bliss. You just look at that and laugh and say, who is here that cares about bliss? Who is here that wants anything at all? What games can the mind play with you now? What can it offer you that you have not transcended already? Which, which desire still has so much power? Is the idea of a good life still so compelling? Is the idea of a lot of money, the best relationships, the best body, so feverish? What about the idea of becoming an enlightened sage? Even that loses its grip, isn't it? Now the mind will come and say, but this is, you're pointing to a meaningless life. Where is the fun in this? Try it. And I can promise you that you've never had fun like this before. Try a life without expecting even this. It's your desire for your plan for your life, which convinces you again and again that you are a limited entity, the limited self. Because if you look at your plans, are you planning and saying, okay, tomorrow morning, I better make sure that the sun comes out from the east? You're saying like that. Tonight, just make sure that all the stars show up in the sky. Are your plans about consciousness? No. That continues to run without any plan. So Shivani says, Father, I have to come. Yes. Hello.
I just so angry. I feel so angry with what you're saying. I just had to come up because I just. Like a huge fucking yes, I do want something better. Why not? Like, why fucking not? I'm tired, so tired. I'm just had to come up because I just feel like it's I don't know, it's like everything is a waste of time. Every fucking ounce of this existence is a waste of time. Even fucking wanting it to be good is a waste of time. Just settle for being fucking terrified. Settle for fucking failing at everything. Like, just settle, because there's no point fucking wanting anything. Sorry.
Okay, so one thing we need to buy is the bleep machine. Even in this report, I know that in moments of anger, there can be a lot of this frustration. And why shouldn't I have it better? And why I think really like this? And why can't they improve? What is the concept we have about ourselves in that? Like, I am Shivani, I am this body, I deserve more, isn't it? And there can be this idea that after having come to Satsang, I definitely deserve more. I should be free by now. But this I is not you. And I can say it for 4 years, I can say it for 10 years, I can say it for 100 years or 100 lifetimes. And for a while, it can feel like a battle. It can feel like I have an unchanging stance, and it can feel like you have an unchanging stance. But the fact is that, later you will see that you are not this way. And you have already seen many times. I don't even know whether she's still there. So you can see all the. Then it records like that. Then it looks recording. This is what I was saying actually, that I was saying very calmly, but when I was saying that sometimes strong emotion can come, sometimes strong thoughts can come, convince you that, but I am this and I want it all, I want it better, I deserve it. What does the non existent one deserve? And when has it ever got anything? Glimpses of little bit of desire fulfillment. The unknotting of the knot of desire has seemed like it is some sort of fulfillment to us. It's nothing. See what happened? It seems like there's an energetic knot formed every time we pick up a desire. And as that desire is seemingly attained, then this knot releases itself. But what happened? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maximum a day. then some new thing, the next thing, the next project, the next things. This I, which relies on the why. And even this resistance is not personal. It's like Guruji says, the same guy, which somewhere here will keep wanting to send this kind of message to all of us, uses whatever life events or emotions that any of us might be feeling as an opportunity to come up, share, speak them out loud, what the mind is saying to all of us actually. This is exactly what I was saying actually, that when I say truth for truth's sake, or for the sake of a better life, and I know which one is it. Ultimately, she wants truth for truth's sake, but there are moments where I can feel like it's all about getting a better life. How long will the better life last? 40 years, 50 years, 100 years? Then how long do the last 40 years seem, 50 years seem? Nothing. It'll just come and go. Then one better life, then what? One more better life, the next better life. What is the end to this? Let me start from where we are right now. So Nelly says the story here, the story here is a me, that there is something wrong with, needs to get fixed and put together. That is the story. Thank you for this seeing. Such a me never happened to the real one. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So welcome, my dear. So welcome. It never happened.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Also, it was just saying that sometimes this thoughts like, oh, why are you still going to Satsang? The kind of, you should have got it by now. And I don't know, the thoughts. Thank you again, this is seen. So it's also not happening to the real one.
This is actually a very important point, because what is that the insight that you're having, the mind will use even that insight and convince you that you are the limited me. So when it says, are you still coming to satsang? Are you talking to consciousness or as somebody limited? He's again talking to you as if you are mellow. So this is what you can see. And the idea is like, oh, I don't need to do the inquiry anymore. Is it talking to which is limited? I maybe doesn't have to come to satsang. I maybe doesn't have to do inquiry. It uses the ultimate position also as a defense for the ego itself. Now, what I'm saying is that neither doing nor non-doing apply to you. neither the doer nor the non-doer. The doing or not doing is also appearing and disappearing in your own life. So it uses this Advaita teaching of non-dualship to try and convince you that now you don't need to do that. You see, but again convincing you that you are an object who needs to do or not do. Right? It is never about the advice from the mind. It's always about the story of the me that it is telling you, even if in its most glorious spiritual story. Now, I like this report very much. Is that such a me never happened to the real one? Yes, it has never happened. Such a me is not there, it never was. But this has this lawyer. The lawyer will come and fight for the me, which is this mind. The mind is as a representative in your head. So now you should do this. Now you should do that. Do you really need to do this now? But in all, as if you are an object, as if you are limited. All positions are about the person. All positions are about the ego. The truth is positionless. The positionless doesn't need to go to satsang, nor does it need not to go to satsang. The positionless doesn't need inquiry, nor not doing inquiry. It is neither doing nor not doing. The positionless is untouched by any appearance. Now the mind tries to sell you the story of its idea of the self. So I'm very glad that you exposed that because it's common for many of us. Says you don't need the inquiry anymore, you don't need satsang anymore, you see you are the self. I could be sitting, you could be sitting with a tree and you say this tree is my guru or something, it gives you these fancy spiritual fantasies. But still convincing you that you are a me, still convincing you that you are a limited object. So I'm very happy to see that you're seeing through these tricks of the mind and you're not buying any story of the me, whether it is spiritual or whether it is worldly. Is it? Because otherwise what happens is that we give up the worldly ego and pick up the spiritual ego. It is nothing. In fact, the spiritual ego is worse, more suffering, because it has stronger ideas about itself. So very happy that you spotted it well in time and threw it out in the fire of satsang. That this is what the mind is trying to tell me. Many actually in the play, it happens in many expressions of consciousness that these kind of thoughts start coming and they start believing them and stop coming to satsang. You see, that is how consciousness is playing like that over there. And I know ultimately it is all the play of consciousness. But the design of this alarm clock is to keep warning you, to keep waking you up from all of these positions that the mind still wants us to take. Like the supremely enlightened position where you see all of these ideas. Very good. Very happy with this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Very good. Peter said, neither compelling nor despairing. The notion of a good life. Yes. It's nothing. Neither desire nor aversion. No need to, what did Ashtavakra say? No need to accept or renounce. Neither position we have to take. Because all positions are just positions for a limited self, the non-existent one.
So Bhadra, whatever is appearing in this moment, doesn't matter what it is, that is the truth of this moment. That's all it is. And I'm aware of whatever is appearing.
So let's look at this. He says, whatever is appearing in this moment, is that the truth of this moment? Okay? Now, what if we take in as the definition of the truth?
So I'm aware. So what doesn't change?
What
My
remains
direct,
unchanging?
direct experience.
Okay, these two are enough. So that which is your direct insight and that which does not change. If you were to apply these two filters for truth,
Then it's not true. Of course.
then it
Because
is just an appearance. What is
just-
appearing?
Right.
We don't need to get into a denial of the appearance of it.
Right.
But what is true here? So what is appearing is appearing.
Right.
And we see that whatever can appear will also disappear. What can come will go. Okay? So let's apply the filter of the truth and see if there is something which is unchanging also.
I mean, I'm seeing it all,
Yeah.
and nothing is happening to that. The suffering only comes when you want to change the moment somehow.
Exactly.
Right? So, in a sense, what I meant by truth
Yeah.
was not what I meant was that this is it. Whatever is showing up, I'm aware of it.
It becomes so simple like that. Because if we try to fix appearances,
Yes.
this is what the report was about. Why can't I fix my life? Or why can't life get better? This is not good news at all, what you're saying. To me, it was sounding like super good news, actually. But when we feel like the appearance has to be different, the appearance has to be something else, and we get stuck in this, trying to control my life, trying to change my life, try to bring only that which we desire into this life, and try to hide away from that which we are fearful of, aversion. As you see that you cannot be scratched, cannot be dented by any appearance. What is there to fear?
The fear is also just an appearance.
Even fear we don't fear.
It's like I can sense some resistance, but I don't have to pick it up if I don't choose to.
was saying yesterday that we're looking a bit at the Bhagavad Gita these days. And I found that they've said that action without expectation of outcome is Karma Yoga. All these are the seeming paths to truth. Action without expectation of outcome is Karma Yoga. Love with no expectation of reciprocation is Bhakti Yoga. Is love for love. In the same way, truth for truth's sake is Jnana. Now, for hundreds of years, many centuries, these are the paths which are prescribed based on your temperament. And it's not a straight line that you can only be this or that. It's usually actually a combination. But you notice that in all of this, the part about not being feverish about a result, not having expectations, is common. You see, because it is with this expectation that we resist life, that this appearance should be something else. And ego is nothing but a resistance. Another name for resistance is ego. And you cannot settle for a second-hand truth. If it was enough to have a second-hand truth, all I would have to do is give you a book. Here is the book which has 6 months of satsang. Please get to know the main concepts of that and you're free. It doesn't work like that. The energetic presence of satsang, the mind seems to make some space. Mostly today might not be the best way to waste time to say that, but mostly seems to make some space in which our direct insight are so obvious. So when we're talking about the truth, it is not a conceptual truth or a perception of some truth. It is that which is beyond all of this. That's why I said, go beyond your perception. What is there? If no appearance was here, would you cease to be? Do you exist only because you are perceiving something? What is that which exists? And who is aware of that existence? Yes. Vidya says, mind wants to just accumulate and postpone forever. Yes. Spirituality becomes a tactic for the mind. So as we resolve confusion about the I, as we come to direct insight about the I, even after that you can delve into all of these beautiful spiritual treasures which are there in our tradition and beyond our tradition, any spiritual treasure. But like Maharaj once said, you might even read the Gita from Krishna's perspective and not Arjuna's anymore. It is not blasphemy. Gratitude to your own divine presence. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadhguru Shri Ananta-Ji ki Jai.
Jyotima is in the hospital. She's done video off. It's okay.